All right. So as you can see from this handout, what makes this mission effort unique is that it is designed to last for generations. It is a long-term commitment in which you try to make a difference in this care point, and then you're working toward a graduation event. You know, a lot of mission trips, you go down there, you build something, you come home, and a few years later that thing is gone. And this model is about making generational change. Thus the long-term commitment there. So that's one of the goals we have. Let's just talk through some terminology. Care point, what does that mean? That's the community that we're trying to improve and bless. And there is a 40-page to 50-page community development plan which is in the process of being put together. So we don't know exactly what that looks like right now because it's in the process of being defined, as is typically the case. Pastor Languish and his team, they took a trip down there in the fall of last year, and that's when they met some of the community leaders. They met the pastor that they'll be working with in a conversation with Dave. He said, Jay, if you join us with this, you're going to love this pastor. He says, you got to be ready to put up with some Pentecostal stuff, but you're going to love this guy. He's got a lot of energy and the like. To which I said, that's fine. As long as we're not dealing with snakes, I'm fine. But that is my main concern there. Let's see, what else do we have? So that is that community development plan that's in the process of being worked on. Will Crooks is an individual that you're going to meet next week. He'll be here next week to kind of present some more of this, and he'll answer some more of the technical questions that I don't have quite the answers to right now. So Will he went to Purdue. He's a huge Boilermaker fan, so as did his dad. So he and his dad are on cloud 9 right now. We'll see what kind of mood he's in on Monday night, as a matter of fact. Yeah, he told me that, he says, Jay, I almost crashed your place last weekend, and I was going to watch Purdue play Tennessee in the Final Four because they were in Detroit, right? He says, but my dad is 92, and as much as I wanted to take him, we knew it would be a lot easier just to watch the game at home. But anyway, so the Hope Chest Friends, that goal is 50 sponsorships from here at Christ the King, and I know and that's what I was talking about this morning it's a big commitment. It's a sacrifice. At $45 a month, you're basically looking at sitting down at your family budget and saying, all right, can we carve out, $600 a year roughly, for this particular effort? What happens then when you sign up to be a Hope Chest friend, you upload your picture, and that match event for us, the launch event for us will be 2 weeks from this weekend, April 28th, and we'll have, that's kind of where you sign up, and then you get your picture taken. Those pictures then go to Guatemala, and the match event that Pastor Dave was talking about, that's that Saturday, May 25th. They're going to have members of their team in Guatemala for the match event, and that's when the children pick you. You don't pick the kids pick you, and then you kind of begin to develop this encouragement with this individual there. 2 of the guys who are on staff with Hope Chest started out as children who were kind of blessed with these friendships, and they kind of grew up. And we'll meet one of them. He'll be here for our launch event on April 28th. So that's kind of how this is designed. And again, it is, as I said before, it's a long-term commitment, so we're not asking for you to sign up today. I'm just asking you to think about it, to pray about it. If you have more questions, you can kind of note that you at least have some interest on the things here, and if you have other questions, you can write those on the back as well. See what we have. We talked about Bethlehem Lutheran there in Lakewood. Their goal is 100. Together we're hoping for that 150. And again, I can't stress enough just how this model works relative to creating lasting change. I think we've maybe all heard the stories of mission trips that I was telling a friend of mine about this, and he says, yeah, Jay, when I was in high school, he said one of our local places took a mission trip, slapped the high school's logo up on the building that they built, and 2 years later, warlords took over that, and they're running guns out of that building while our high school logo is still on the building. And that's nobody's fault. That's just the way sometimes the world works. That's not their fault. It's not but this is different. Everything is kind of directed toward a care point that's there. Yeah, and as I was saying, that's our J and PJ's Excellent Adventure. We leave Monday morning, right, PJ? We're bright and early. We'll get down there on Monday, and then they drive us out to the care point. I was kind of looking at a map. You can kind of see where the San Antonio area is. As I said before, Pastor Dave and his team have been there, and they've met them. They drive us out there and then that Tuesday we walk around in the area. We get to meet the pastor. We get to meet some of the community leaders, the staff there with Children's Hope Chest, because that's really what makes this work, is that continual on-site development. And then Wednesday we had a choice. It's like, well, when do you want to get back? I said, well, I don't want to get back too late. And I said, all right, well, there's a flight at 6 a.m. You know what the thing about a 6 a.m. flight is from where we're at? It's a 3:30 wake-up call. So, PJ, 3:30 on Wednesday morning, that's when we get up. Now, I know that you're an early bird. You'll be fine. You might need to carry me to the airport. You might just, like, sack of potatoes on your shoulder type thing. But that's a trip. And while we're there, we'll be kind of recording things and uploading videos. There's a group that they work with online. It's called Slack, and that's kind of where they post their things, and we'll be communicating and keeping up to speed with some of those things there. All right. Christ the King's Children Hope Chest team for San Antonio, Guatemala. I wanted to see how many acronyms I could get in that one sentence there. Did pretty good. I envision this kind of requiring 4 different teams, and this is where I'm asking you to jump in. Maybe you're this type of a thing. We all have a different spiritual gift mix. And so for some of you, you're like, man, I don't know, Jay, if that's really my thing. It might not be in line with your spiritual gift mix. We get it. That's fine. We're a big congregation, though. We're a large body of Christ. And I'm really praying that the Lord will do a combination of things. Stir up within you, perhaps an area where you can jump in and then provide for us. So if you're thinking to yourself, I really would like this to get involved in this, maybe in a more organizational level, there's kind of 4 teams that I see us needing. And again, this will kind of change a little bit with the community development plan. But the first one is just to manage those Hope Chest friends, just to manage that. My daughter, Becca, this is kind of what she does. She works for Reliant missionary group, a nonprofit called Reliant. And I said, Becca, can you explain to me what you do? And I said, not really, Dad, I can't. She said, what I can tell you this is I work with Excel spreadsheets all day long. I work with Excel, and that's kind of my job. I'm in people logistics. I manage people kind of thing. And I said, man, any chance you'd want to move back home? Take this role right here? Because that's the kind of thing. But it's someone who manages those, keeps track of, helps with the launch events, obviously, and that kind of a thing. So that team of folks there. The next one would be communications and PR, like just what you saw Pastor Dave do in that 5-minute video. It'd be nice to have someone who can help PJ and I with that, and then be the person that helps to advertise this to our congregation, because this is going to be a continual ministry where new people will be jumping in. 3 years from now, you might have some turnover. I'm not exactly sure how those Hope Chest friendships work over a span of time, because there might come a time in which you have death in the family, or somebody moves out of state, or something like that. So I'm not exactly sure how that transfer works, so to speak, but that's what will be here next week to help us answer. But someone to help with communications, PR, and that. I think the other big thing that we're looking at, and this will be a big part of the ministry itself, is fundraising. We'll want to be able to raise about 10 to 15 grand a year that will go to help with trips that are being taken, to help with projects that are happening down there. But what I envision with these fundraisers is they become community events. They become events where 200 to 250 of us, kind of get together and celebrate where we're at right now in the ministry. Almost like progress reports, kind of a thing, and fun social events as well. I mean, you've seen that, how fundraisers can often kind of take on that form of, a nice social event for the group. I was reminded of it just a few weeks ago when we did the music bingo. Is that what it's called? The fundraiser the eighth graders did. I mean, that was a lot of us were there. I don't have an eighth grader, all right? Denise says I act like an eighth grader, but Denise has an eighth grader. I don't. But anyway, but that was a fun social event, right? We had a good time, and I think they raised $5,000 for that. I mean, and so that was, those types of things. That's kind of what we're envisioning. I don't know the answer to that, but maybe you like this kind of stuff. You like to plan this kind of a thing. You're like, man, all right, I'm gonna help out with this. I'm gonna put together a team, and we're gonna raise $5,000 in this particular fundraiser. We're gonna do 2 or 3 or so of these. They'll become annual events, and we'll begin to look forward to them. I'm reminded of our golf outing, for example. Our golf outing is, in August, and we raise funds, and it's a great social time. We get together as a church, and we have a lot of fun. And so that's what I kind of see with these fundraising events. And then finally, Dave talked about these trips that are being taken, and that's kind of the unknown right now because of what this community development plan will look like. Like I said, it's not designed to, let's say, go down there and just build something and leave. It's designed to help develop a community. And so within that, each year, there might be, for example, an example that Will gave us is, you might have the need for some medical improvements in this community, and you got somebody who's there who's got some medical training, but they could use, some organization, and we've got a nurse in the congregation, or an RN, or Bethlehem has somebody, and so they'll say, you know what, I'll join this team of 3 or 4 that goes down to Guatemala, spends a few days in training there, and so that's an example when he was talking about trips that are planned. And the nice thing about partnering with another church is, Bethlehem might take a crew one year, we might take a crew the next year. Is we're kind of shouldering the load with all of that. So a couple dates to be thinking of, and again, the teams will adapt with a community development plan. April 14th, Will Crooks will be here next week, and so he'll be a resource that we can talk to, answer some more questions. The big event for us is going to be April 28th. On April 28th, we're hoping to have 50 Hope Chest friends. So pray about that. If you've got questions, talk to PJ and me about that. But that's what we're kind of hoping to do. That's our goal. Bethlehem's launch event is April 21st. So we'll kind of have an idea of where we're at as a team with type of a thing. And then, as I said before, May 25th is the match event, and that is happening in Guatemala, and that will be, we'll participate remotely. Bethlehem is sending, I think, 5 people down there, and that's typical to do. I've talked with a lot of pastors who are involved in this, and they will usually be on site at the care point for the match event kind of a thing. For us, joining the way that we are and partnering up, we won't. I'm not planning on sending anybody down there for the match event, but if there's someone here that says, what, Jay, I'm really feeling led to jump in with this. I'd like to be down there to represent CTK. Then talk to me about that. It's not out of the question. It's just not something that is absolutely necessary. So it's not something that we were planning on sending someone down there. So that's where we're at with the in the process. At this time, I'll open it up to questions. Forgive me for sounding maybe redundant, but will need to repeat some of your questions just because we are trying to record this so that we can post it. So, questions, fire away. Yes, Lisa.
Hi. I know someone that is not a member of the church who's very interested in participating in this and wants to know, do you need to be a member of the church to do so?
You do not need to be a member of the church, let's say, to do so. So if they'd be to have them give us a holler, certainly. Yeah, I wanted to make that point as well because we might have some folks who are part of our, school community, but they're members at, let's say, First Pres or even Gilead, so yeah, kind of a thing. But I know Gilead, they got a good mission footprint from talking to Pastor Sean the last couple of weeks. So, yeah, Dan.
Just so that people know that when you do these type of community building programs, they are far more likely to be successful in more ways than just building the community, because more likely than not, when the community is built in these second and third world countries, they tend to keep their people at home far more than otherwise.
Yeah, the model is unique, and as we said before, it's designed to be. I think the key phrase that always keeps jumping out at me is that graduation event. I mean, it's designed so that at one point, everybody from Bethlehem and CTK walks away. In terms of that, and that now this is your generation. This is yours now, rather than supporting. So, other questions? Yes.
I'm just curious, so make a donation of $45. How much of that goes directly to the community? How much is for administration?
Yeah.
So I immediately think of...
Yes, no, you're right. You're right. That's exactly the question that we had when we presented this to our vestry, our 9-person board. That was the question that was asked, and Will sent out the financials for Hope Chest, and one of our members, Roy Lambert, kind of combed through that and kind of found that it's basically what you typically find for your classic missionary work overhead. And so I don't know the exact numbers. You know, I could stand here and say 85-15, you know, or whatever that is. I don't know. But those numbers are readily available. We'll know those next week. But we did take those into account. And I will be honest with you, I'm counting on the homework that's been done by the 16 other Lutheran Church Missouri Synod churches that Will has worked with. Many of them, they're churches that are our size. They're not just our size isn't the issue. They have multiple ministries. You know, and these are just the Lutheran Church Missouri Synod. Once you get into a certain part of it, we're kind of a small group, and everybody kind of knows everybody. And so Dan Shepman, another classmate of mine down at Gloria Day, has been involved in this, and he speaks highly of it. Dan Tays, another, he was a little bit older than me, but he's in a Lutheran church there in Milwaukee, Hales Corner. He speaks highly of it. Greg Griffith, even up here locally, Emmanuel McComb, the guy Chad Foster, Emmanuel McComb, speaks highly of it. So I'm kind of counting on they're saying, yeah, Jay, this is good stuff if you can get involved in this, because that my first thought was we're just not big enough. You know, we just can't do this, and but if we could partner up, then that's what I'm hoping we can do. Harry, and then yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
How does Jesus
Yeah.
I know how he's shown in physical things we do, but how does
Working with the pastor that's there, working with the pastor who's there to, because you're as you're caring for these kids, you've got Will explained it, and we'll be able to answer this better next week. The 4 components that you have is you're trying to help the kids out, first of all, spiritually. There's that spiritual effort so that they might know, you know, God's love for them. And then you got the practical stuff, the medical stuff, the nutritional stuff with the health as well. And so it's not because of and that's going to be influenced by the community development plan as well. So, but it's not as simple as just going down there and running VBS for, you know, a week, kind of a thing. It's more involved than that. Yeah.
I think you just answered my question. I was curious about what does it mean to be transformational long term? Like, what's the goal? Are we creating a community of farmers or beekeepers or?
We'll know that with the community development plan, we'll give more details on that.
Okay.
But it is, you know, in terms of being practical, it's a 10-year deal. It's a 10-year plan. It's a 10 to 15 years to graduate this care point. And when that care point is graduated, the goal is for it to make a real difference in the lives of these. And if you think in terms of 150 kids, right, that have been for 10 years, they've grown up with kind of this is how the world, you know, can work. You've got transformation on that side, and then the other transformation is for us and for our kids. You know, and I'll be honest with you, this is something that's been on my heart ever since I started taking a look at, you know, the book Faith for Exiles. You might remember this book, and the group of kids that Kinnaman calls resilient disciples. And those are young Christians who want to see Jesus at work, not only in their lives, but they want to see tangible results of that. And we talk a lot about passing our faith down to the next generation. And that's great talk. We want to do that. But at some point, you got to get practical. And so when I think 10 years from now, I know that sounds like a lot, but then I think to myself, wait a second, 2014 doesn't seem like that long ago. It's like time out. 2014, I think that's when Becca graduated from college, or I'm sorry, high school. That's high. Why does that year ring a bell for me? Oh, Becca's graduation. I bet 10 years goes quick. And so in that 10 years, that goes fast. And while I love all of you who are my age, right, 55, 56, 58, where you're at in your life at 68, I'm rooting for you. I am. And I know you're rooting for me. You are, all right? But guys, I got to be honest with you, what I'm thinking about when we talk about this 10-year plan, because that's what scares me. What scares me in terms of this, and nothing worthwhile is without risk, is it's a long-term plan. All right? But then I think about the 10-year-old, the 11-year-old, and the 12-year-old. And what is their life going to look like when they're 20, 21, and 22, and they've seen this at work in their church? So they're connected here to CTK, and they've seen this at work. And that's what I'm hoping to help us do, is create some resilient disciples, right? To be intentional about that. Not just read about it, not just talk about it, but really make the effort to create. And that's what I'm praying that the Lord blesses. And so when we say transformational, that's hopefully for us too. Because I'll be honest with you, this is very different for CTK. This really hasn't been part of our culture. And I know that I'm taking a big step in encouraging us to walk in this direction. Elise and then Kenny.
Are there, like, how long has Hope Chest been around? Are there locations that have
Graduated the care points.
graduated, and so you could see that whole span of?
Yeah, I have my notes. Yes, I have my notes from my initial meeting. So for them, their first efforts in this model were, I want to say, in Russia, or more Eastern Europe. And what they found for us in this area is just how much Guatemala needs this type of effort. And to be quite honest, it's a little bit easier to get people there, so, to be in all honesty. So I don't know that they've got any Guatemalan care points that have graduated in the next 10, but Will can answer that next week. Because that's what I want to know too. Yeah.
What it actually
Sure. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Kenny.
I have two questions. First of all, is this separate from Christ the King? I mean, the donations or?
Yes, it would be completely separate from Christ the King. You'd be giving to Hope Chest. Kenny asked, would this be separate? How's the money handled? And yes, this would be completely different.
How do we, what do we write?
It's your classic, probably automatic withdrawal. It's it's the same way. The same way that ProShine gets my $20 a month, right? Right. If you're paying for guys, support me on this, right? If you're paying for an unlimited membership at a car wash, it's okay to get your car washed every day, right? Yeah. Okay, good. I just want to make sure, because the guy's looking at me funny. It's like, dude, come on. We're pals here. I'm sorry. So yeah, Kenny, didn't mean to interrupt. Go ahead.
Then my other so we would have like a direct deposit from our bank into.
Hope Chest, yeah.
Okay, so we don't have to worry about.
Yeah, that's typically the way that it's set up.
Higher up. Can you donate a year's worth at once?
It's 540.
I don't know. I don't know the answer to that question.
Okay.
Yeah, Will have to answer that one.
540
Yeah.
a year, 45 would be 45 a month, would be 1050, give or take a couple
Yeah.
cents and change a week, or basically about $1.40 a day.
Additions, subtractions, tricky pal. All right, go ahead. Yeah.
I just have one more question.
Yes.
So for the families that partner,
Yeah.
is there a vision of doing a mission trip there to help? I know you listed some organizational opportunities or whatever. Is that the vision, is that there would be mission trips to the
Yes.
point? Okay.
Yes. The part of that is where can we plug into that community development plan to help out. So certainly, yes, there are. Yes, Dwayne.
And to elaborate on that, that fundraisers that we would do throughout the year and stuff would help to defray the cost, if you will, to send people down on these trips.
Yeah, that's the goal of fundraising, is twofold: to help pay for travel. Our goal is that if you want to sacrifice the time and the effort to get down there, that we as a congregation are going to support you and pay for you to do that.
So it's
All right.
not just the monthly contribution?
That correct. The monthly contribution is kind of the engine that drives the whole thing, and then the fundraising is for the special projects and flights that are down there. And as I see it too, it's going to end up serving as a promotion for the ministry itself, a promotion and celebration as we get together and see some progress and hopefully, celebrate some accomplishments that are there. All right. Other questions there? Yes, Pastor.
The first part of the community development plan isn't building a golf course, is it?
It is not. It is not. It is a short game range because, as we all know, the game really needs to be played from the green out. And so if we're working with young kids, the first thing we need to do is teach them how to putt, then how to chip, then how to work 100 yards in. Yeah, it's a strategy. PJ doesn't know this, but yeah, it's a strategy. No, yeah. And again, I'm looking forward to that too. Harry, that's the other unknown for me. And as I'm going into this, the unknowns are the community development plan. What does that look like? And managing kind of that long-term part of it. And I will tell you this. I was talking to somebody else because this has kept me up at nights. And I thought to myself, whenever I said no, I thought, man, life would be a lot easier if we didn't do this. And that was kind of, I felt God's way of telling me, Jay, you need to do this. Because that's kind of where I'm at with it. Yeah, Kenny, do you have your hand up again?
I just wanted to expand on if you're 68 and you commit for 10 years, maybe that's in good with the Lord and you'll get your 10 years.
Kenny, I like the way you think. I like the way you think. And yeah. I'm just saying, right, God's got a little bit extra motivation to keep you going. Right? All right, other questions there. All right, so what we have here is just a place where you can kind of fill out some stuff. If you want to, you drop it on this front table. That'd be great. If you want to take it home with you, that's fine too. If you need any more of these sheets. And again, Children's Hope Chest, as you can see, kind of the, let's see if I go here. The website down there, that bottom one, that's the one directly connected to the care point that Bethlehem and CTK are partnering on, San Antonio and in that area. So thank you for sticking around. And again, if you have any questions, don't hesitate to pull PJ or me aside. All right? Great. Have a great day.